So in my last class, I started off with this molecular biology techniques. So I gave you the objectives, like the objectives were describe what is DNA cloning vectors, what are the enzymes involved in recombinant DNA technology, then describe principle of polymerase chain reaction and its clinical applications. Then I talk to you about the various blotting techniques that are there, southern blot, northern blot, western blot. Today I'm going to talk to you about DNA fingerprinting and RFLP. I gave you the differences between the genomic and the cDNA library, and the other one was like describe the basic principle of DNA sequencing in gene therapy. So I gave you the biomedical importance. I told you why understanding these techniques is important. That like forms the basis of understanding the molecular basis of various diseases. It helps us to produce various proteins like insulin, growth hormone, etc. It helps us in developing vaccines, producing them at mass. One of the examples is hepatitis B. And it helps in the diagnosis of disease like Ebola, HIV. In the past, it has helped us. Right now, it is helping us in like diagnosis of COVID. And again, like the knowledge of these molecular biology techniques is helping us to develop vaccine against COVID-19. And it has its application in forensic medicines, and there's like application in gene therapy, where single gene deficiency disorder or disorders are amenable to treatment like sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, and deaminase deficiency. Then I told you about the starting material. Mostly what we have is DNA, RNA, or protein. So I told you about how to go about the DNA extraction and RNA extraction. The basic principle is same. You take the tissue of your interest, and then you homogenize it, or like first of all break it using lysozymes. Then you remove the proteins that are associated with the nucleic acid. Using proteinase K, then you can use phenol chloroform method or the column based method to remove the impurities, and then precipitate this DNA using alcohol. I told you about the dissection endonucleases. They are the enzymes that cut the DNA, recognized in a sequence specific manner within the molecule, and they can either like create a sticky end or a blunt end. I told you like why they are known as dissection endonucleases. They restrict the growth of these. They are elaborated by the bacteria, and they restrict the growth of the bacteriophage that infects them. And how is like the bacteria is protected, because these enzymes they occur in pair. They have a site-specific methylase. They protect the bacteria, and only the phage, the bacteria, is like digested or degraded. I gave you the definition of what is a recombinant DNA technology. It involves isolation and manipulation of DNA and RNA to make a chimeric molecule. I gave you the definitions, certain definitions like what is clone, what are chimeric molecules, what is cloning, and then what are the cloning vectors. I told you about like what are these. I gave you the list of cloning vectors: plasmid, phages, cosmid, bacterial artificial chromosome, P1 based vector, yeast artificial chromosome. Told you like told you about like plasmid, what is the plasmid, क्या होता है, then phages क्या होते हैं, and then cosmid. Cosmid is it utilizes the best property of a plasmid and a phages. And then what are the differences between all these three? And give you the what like these vectors look like. They have there's a cloning site that is there. They have a selectable marker. They have an origin of replication. and then told you that what are the differences. Basically, they have the same things, like basic structure is same, but they can accommodate different lengths of DNA inserts. Like from plasmid, it can be like 0.01 to 10 kb, but for Fage's cosmid, it is bigger. And say for this sequencing, the whole entire human genome that has its sequence, it is like we need to have a bigger insert so that the gene can be studied in total. Then I told you about like how do we go about it, the genetic engineering, okay, where you take the gene of your interest, either take it, cut it using a restriction endonuclease, or better the approach is to take the extract the mRNA and then make the cDNA out of it and then clone it into a vector and then transform it into after like it has been ligated into a bacteria and then propagate this bacteria. So multiple copies of this particular gene will be produced. And it give you the definition or what are the differences between genomic library and cDNA library, how to generate this genomic library and cDNA library. I gave you this stepwise approach, what is there, how do you generate this. Very frequently it is asked, what are like, very frequently it is asked, what is the difference between genomic library and the cDNA library. So the starting material for the genomic library is the entire DNA. For the cDNA library, it is the mRNA. So if you take the entire genome, cut it into small pieces, clone it and have a collection of it, it's the genomic library. If you take the expressed part, जो gene express हो रहे हैं, उनका mRNA होगा, उसे extract करो, उसका cDNA बनाओ, उसको use करो to generate a library, or like which all the genes that are expressed will be represented. That collection is a cDNA library. Genomic library, basically it has helped us to sequence the entire genome. This is another diagram which shows what is the difference between the genomic library and the cDNA library. And I told you what are expression vectors in plasmid and all, like you cannot express your protein. So you need a special kind of vectors in which you have inducible promoters, proper in-phase translation, initiation codons, translation, transcription, translation, termination signals, and proper protein processing signals. ठीक है, ये सब होने चाहिए, वो इस वेक्टर में होते हैं, वो उसमें आप अपने प्रोटीन को एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हो. That is the expression vector. Then I told you what is like DNA gel electrophoresis होता है क्या है, and दो टाइप का होता है, agarose gel and polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. The separation, the movement occurs because of this charge, DNA being negatively charged, the DNA migrates towards anode, but it is like actually the mass and the shape that actually determines the resolution. Larger molecule faces more restrictional force, more frictional force, thus they move slower. Smaller particles that face less frictional force, thus they move faster. It's like something moving in a sieve. तो जितना बड़ा होगा उतना धीरे धीरे मूव करेगा, जितना छोटा होगा उतना फास्ट मूव करेगा. Then I gave you the diagrammatic representation. How do we do this gel electrophoresis? I told you that we are using dyes to visualize this DNA. One of them is the ethidium bromide, and then you can even take a ethidium bromide, and then you can take pictures of this. Then applications to analyze the product formed during PCR DNA sequencing in southern blot. Various blotting techniques. And then I told you about what are the various blotting techniques. Told you about southern blot, northern blot, western blot. Southern blot में DNA, you analyze the DNA. In northern, you analyze the RNA. In western blot, you analyze the protein. So in southern blot, क्या देखते हैं आप, ये देख सकते हो कि कोई deletion है, कोई insertion है, कोई translocation है, कोई point mutation है या नहीं. Northern blot और western blot में आप northern में RNA देखते हैं, western में protein देखते हैं, और you can have a look at is like you can either detect the presence of a particular protein और आप उसका expression check कर सकते हो. ये एक particular RNA जैसे कोई tumor suppressor gene है या कोई प्रोटोन को जीन है उसका एक्सप्रेशन कैंसर में कैसे ऑल्टर हुआ है, you can have a look at it. And protein level पे you can have a look at it using Western blot. फिर मैंने आप लोगों को बताया कि how like Southern blot क्या, what is the procedure, principle and application, how do we go about it. We extract and purify the DNA. In case of Southern blot, DNA is section digested with enzymes, separated using electrophoresis. Then you treat it with a mild alkali to denature the DNA so it becomes single stranded. You transfer it to a nitrocellulose paper, fix it using either UV cross linkage or heating it. Then you add label probes. Probes क्या होती हैं, जो एक छोटे-छोटे sequences होती हैं DNA के with a proper signal. Either it can be radio labeled, P32 labeled हो सकती है, tritium labeled हो सकती है, और fluorescent labeled हो सकती है, और chemiluminescence based हो सकती है. तो ये जाके sequence specific manner पे अपने particular sequence को bind करेगी, और when appropriately developed, it will give you a signal कि हाँ ये particular sequence present है या नहीं. ठीक है. So once you transfer it to a nitrocellulose membrane, once you fix it, then you probe, add a label probe, hybridization takes place. Then you wash these membranes. Once you wash this membrane using appropriate reagents, तो जो non-specific manner में जहाँ bind करेगी उस membrane पे वहाँ से हट जाएगी. Then you can either develop this using autoradiograph or fluorescence-based method or chemiluminescence-based method, and have a look at it कि आपका DNA में कोई जो भी आप उसको analyze कर सकते हैं. Told you about the northern blotting, told you about the western blotting. So that's what I discussed yesterday. So today I'm going to talk to you about PCR. Start off with PCR. So DNA, this PCR is essentially like a DNA replication. DNA replication in vivo हो रहा है, PCR in vitro है. वही सारी चीज जो DNA replication में वही होती हैं, but in this case it is in vitro. We carry out the same thing, replication in vitro. एक ट्यूब में करते हैं और repeatedly करते हैं तो multiple copies of the region of your interest is generated. So it's a molecular photocopy. This technique was initially developed by Gary Mullis. So just let's compare what is the difference between the DNA replication and the PCR. In DNA replication, unwinding is done by helicase, and the primers are synthesized by primases, and extension is done by DNA polymerase. In case of PCR, unwinding is done by heating it 95 degrees. That results in the denaturation. Then we do, in this case, we use synthetic primers. बाहर commercially synthesize कराते हैं, उन्हीं tubes में डाल देते हैं जितनी quantity required है. और in this case, the extension is done by TAC polymerase. It's a thermostable enzyme. Because हम इसको repeatedly different temperature पे expose कर रहे हैं, so हमें एक ऐसा enzyme चाहिए जो DNA polymerase हो. In this case, we use TAC polymerase. That's a thermostable DNA polymerase obtained from a bacilli, Thermus aquaticus. So as you can see, जैसे DNA replication है वैसे PCR है. ये in vivo है, ये in vitro है, tube में हो रहा है ये. So what is happening is the steps that are involved in this PCR are denaturation, heat it at 94 degrees, so the DNA strands are separate हो जाएंगे. इसमें brown region, the region that is represented over here is the region that we need to amplify. The blue one is the region against which we can be the sequence we should know, against which we can develop the primers. So denaturation में आपने 95 degrees को 94 degrees Celsius पे इसको expose किया. So once in a tube, so what will happen is कि दो strands separate हो जाएंगे. उसी tube में primers हैं. इस entire mixture का temperature आप 45 to 65 degrees पे ले आइए, depending upon the primers that you are using. तो primers उस पे anneal कर जाएंगे. तो primer anneal कर जाएंगे, उसके बाद इस tube का mixture आप इस tube को आप ले जाइए 72 degrees पे. तो ये TAC polymerase जो उसी tube में present था, वो इस region को extend कर देगा. So a copy will be made. Material that is required for this purpose is a heating blotter that can be used for programming. This is known as a thermal cycler, or commonly laboratory PCR machine भी कहते हैं, but it's a thermal cycler where you can vary the temperature. These are the slots in which you keep your tubes. This is the machine. यहाँ पे आप इसमें programming कर सकते हैं कि आपको उसको 94 degrees 30 seconds के लिए expose करना है, फिर annealing temperature से 50 degrees पे 30 seconds के लिए expose करना है, फिर 72 degrees पे 30 seconds के लिए expose करना है इन tubes को. ये thin wall tubes we are using. ठीक है. ये एल ट्यूब्स उठाते हैं, जो इसमें सारा रिएक्शन मिक्सचर डालते हैं और यहाँ लगा देते हैं, प्रोग्रामिंग करते हैं. So that cycle is carried out as per the program. इस ट्यूब में क्या डालते हैं? We add our template DNA. It contains a target region that needs to be amplified. We don't need to know the sequence of that, but flanking regions against which we have our primers, we need to know the sequence. Excuse me. ये primers हम use करते हैं, इसमें there are oligonucleotides that are 18 to 25 bases in length. Commercially synthesize करवा सकते हो. ये complementary होने चाहिए to the sequences in the on the template in the flanking region. उसको flanking is जो region को आपको surround करता है, जिस region को आपको amplify करना है. These two primers should not be complementary to each other. That is very important because अगर ये दोनों complementary होंगे, एक दूसरे से bind कर जाएंगे, फिर इसको amplify नहीं करेंगे. And the G plus C, यानी G और C का content should be 40 to 60%, and there should be equal distribution of all four bases. A, T, C, G bases होते हैं ना, तो इसमें G और C should be 40 to 60%. And और क्या चाहिए होता है इसके लिए? We need DNA polymerase, as I've already told you. We take it from Thermus aquaticus. That's a thermophilic bacilli. It is heat resistant even after prolonged exposure at 95 degrees Celsius. We need a buffer. Usually the pH is around 8.2 to 8.5. Then we need DNTPs. They are the building blocks, and the divalent cations, the buffers that are required for the activity, like say magnesium and manganese, that are required for the activity of the stack polymerase. So in सब कुछ लेके ये सारे materials that are there, we take it and we put it in these thin walled tubes, and then we put this thing in this thermal cycler and we carry out the reaction. So क्या होता है उससे? Once this happens, like this initially the region against which you want to amplify your target region, that is like with every cycle, like this will be replicated. Okay, there will be a copy of it. Every region will be made. So after the first step, as you can see, the two stacks will separate. Once you bring it to the annealing temperature, the primer will anneal, and then this stack polymerase at 72 degrees will extend this region. So with if you carry out these processes repeatedly, multiple copies of the region of your interest will be generated. So after every cycle, say after n cycles, 2 to the power n copies will be generated. So after 30 cycles, 1.07 into 10 to the power 9 copies have been generated. But the efficiency is not always 100%. So it's not exactly that is the maximum that can be generated. This is another diagram showing how do we go about it. Pink shows the region that needs to be amplified. Black is the region against which you have your primers. That you need to know the sequence of this region, the flanking region. So once you expose it to 94, 95 degrees Celsius, the two strands they separate. Then you bring it to say the annealing temperature, which can be anything between 40 to 60. Say if it is 50, depending upon the primers that we have used. So in this case, the primers will go and anneal over here. Then you bring this entire mixture to 72 degrees. This TAC polymerase will add a new strand, and then you carry out this process again and again. So multiple copies of the region of your interest will be generated. So it's a molecular photocopier. Usually, जो आप करते हैं PCR, you just take your region of your interest, you have your primer, you amplify a single region. That's like a PCR. That's what we call. What I'm going to show is certain variations that are there. You have RT-PCR, and that converts mRNA to DNA. You have a nested PCR if you're using two sets of primers, one within the other. This improves the fidelity. And there's a multiplex PCR. Multiple templates can be amplified in the same region. Then there's a real-time PCR which can be used to quantify the mRNA in the DNA. And in this case, we use internal standard. This real-time PCR has largely replaced northern blot. Northern blotting has its own problem and it's very tricky. But for expression analysis, we are using this mRNA. And for quantifying the number of copies of a DNA that are there, we are again using this real-time. For COVID-19, RNA virus, what we are using is RT-PCR, mRNA लेते हैं, उसका RNA निकालते हैं, उसका cDNA बनाते हैं, and then we are using this real-time based probe-based techniques. You must have heard of कि हाँ इतनी probes or like we are using the probes and all, the probes are there that are available and all. So we are using this real-time PCR using a probe-based chemistry. But I have told you कि हमसे quantify करने के लिए और कितनी copy number of genes हैं उसको कर सकते हैं, but ये real time PCR is कि ये particular fragment of DNA is present or not, it can be used for this also, this purpose also. So that's what we are using, the RT-PCR followed by a real-time PCR for the diagnosis of COVID-19. Coming to the applications, we have done applications like we can basic biomedical research where we can amplify specific DNA sequences. It has helped us in cloning, in sequencing. Sequencing means like to analyze kya sequence hai kisi region ka particularly. And then it has helped in even like in evolutionary studies where minute quantity of DNA from fossils can be PCR amplified, sequenced and analyzed for homology. For fossils the problem होती है कि बहुत कम amount of DNA हमें मिलता है, starting material मिलता है, तो जो regions है उन्हें analyze करने के लिए we use this PCR to amplify this, so it can be analyzed properly. Then this has been used for the diagnosis of infectious diseases like tuberculosis and HIV, and now we are using it again, using for this COVID-19. And this PCR has its application in DNA fingerprinting and paternity testing. Then this technique helps us in screening and prenatal diagnosis. So like amniocentesis you must have heard of, or Corning villus sampling you must have heard of. वो लेके आप उस region को मतलब like उन cells को, they are the fetal cells, you can sequence them or you can even use PCR. So you are using PCR to amplify certain regions and look for certain mutations whether present or not. तो पता चल जाता है पहले ही कि that child is like a carrier or is like he's having this mutation. Is everything clear? I've unmuted all of you. Is everything clear? Yes. Abhishek, Raj, Aditya. जो लोग माइक, हाँ, आकाश, can you hear me? Akash Dongre.
Dead.
I've unmuted you. Akash, can you hear me? Akash, can you hear me? See, the thing is, कि at least respond. अभी तक सब चीजें clear हैं. Should I proceed further? Akash Verma. Okay. जो लोग अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं प्लीज लेट मी नो. अभी तक आपको सब समझ में आया पीसीआर के बारे में? अनिमेश, ओके. Jivesh has asked, please explain the types of PCR. See, there's some. Okay. See, the normal things, the steps of the PCR are clear to you, I think. कि आप क्या करते हैं? You want to amplify a particular region of your interest. You take that DNA, you have your primers, design it. Once you design it, you get it synthesized commercially. Then you have your setup. जिसमें आप एक छोटी सी ट्यूब, प्लास्टिक थिन वॉल PCR ट्यूब होती है जिसमें आप सब अपना DNA, अपने primers, tag polymerase, buffer, DNTPs वगैरह डाल के रखते हैं, and then you amplify that. So the region of interest will be amplified. That is a simple PCR. The variations that are there of like RT-PCR, nested PCR, multiplex. There are many, but I've given you a few examples in a real-time PCR. In case of RT-PCR, instead of like starting off with the DNA, we start off with mRNA. आप क्या करते हैं? RNA निकालते हैं, उसको आप उसमें in that case we are using enzyme reverse transcriptase and convert this mRNA to DNA and subsequently you analyze it. So RT-PCR is the term that is used. In that case, what we are using it, reverse transcriptase PCR. That's a RT-PCR. We are making In this case, you're converting your mRNA to DNA. Then there is a nested PCR. Usually PCR मैंने आपको बताया था कि आपका टेम्पलेट रीजन होता है, टारगेट रीजन होता है. सो टेम्पलेट होता है, उसमें टारगेट रीजन होता है, फ्लैंकिंग रीजन होते हैं. ठीक है, तो आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डिटेल्स ऑफ दिस नेस्टेड. लाइक आपको खुद सोच देखिएगा, पढ़िएगा, लेकिन थोड़ा सा बताता हूँ कि नेस्टेड पीसीआर में आप 2 सेट्स ऑफ प्राइमर्स यूज करते हो, वन विद इन द अदर, सो दैट इट इंप्रूव्स द फिडिलिटी. आप अगर अपना एक रीजन को एम्पलीफाई करते हो एक प्राइमर्स लेके, तो नॉन स्पेसिफिकली बाइंड करके वो कई टारगेट्स को एम्पलीफाई कर सकता है. बट अगर आप वही नेस्टेड पीसीआर करते हो जिसमें एक प्राइमर सेट इज विद इन द this case your target, once you have amplified this region, एक प्राइमर सेट्स आपने यहाँ से लिया और इस रीजन को एम्पलीफाई कर दिया. बट ये प्राइमर्स कई और जगह पे भी नॉन स्पेसिफिकली बाइंड करेंगे, तो उस रीजन को भी एम्पलीफाई करेंगे. बट आपको चाहिए कि आपका यही पर्टिकुलर रीजन एम्पलीफाई हो, तो एक वंस यू हैव कैरिड आउट दिस प्रोसेस, ये इसको लेके इस रीजन को एम्पलीफाई कर दिया, तो देन यू टेक दिस as your template, the PCR product as your template that will contain the region of your interest that has been amplified, and certain regions that are like जहाँ पे प्राइमर नॉन स्पेसिफिकली बाइंड किया था उस रीजन्स में like it has been amplified. You take this as a template, then design another primer set within this region. यहाँ और यहाँ से एक primer set आपने डिजाइन करके उस region को amplify करेंगे. So what you will get is like a what is known as a nested PCR. You still have a confusion? Talk to me, Jivesh. Then you have a multiplex PCR. Multiplex PCR में multiple templates are amplified in the same reaction. तो इसमें तो हम जैसे आपको दिखाया था कि आप एक प्राइमर सेट यूज करो, एक फॉरवर्ड और एक रिवर्स और एक रीजन को एम्पलीफाई कर रहे हो. इफ यू वांट टू हैव अ लुक एट इट, you want to amplify 5 regions simultaneously, you can do it, but it is a bit tricky. You have to design your primers properly so that they don't anneal with each other. Primers का annealing temperature same होना चाहिए. So if you're amplifying multiple targets within the same reaction एक ही tube में, so that is known as a multiplex PCR. Real time PCR थोड़ा सा like just remember this, go back and read, because it cannot be explained right now in detail, but it is used to quantify the mRNA and or DNA. And in this case we use certain internal standards. After carrying out this RT-PCR, आप अपना ये इस real time PCR को देख सकते हो कि expression क्या है एक particular region का. You can quantify it using this technique of real time PCR. And nowadays even we are using it for COVID-19 to detect whether the particular regions of the nucleocapsid, there are certain genes we are looking at for COVID-19, whether they are present or not. Again, it is utilizing this real-time PCR. It utilizes a fluorescent dye, and the fluorescent dye binds to the DNA with every step. And जैसे जैसे कॉपीज बढ़ेंगी फ्लोरेसेंट डाई की, उसकी आपके टारगेट की टेम्पलेट की इतनी ज्यादा फ्लोरेसेंट डाई बाइंड करेगी, और इतनी ज्यादा फ्लोरेसेंट डाई बाइंड करेगी तो इतनी ज्यादा फ्लोरेसेंस बढ़ेगी. इस फ्लोरेसेंस कितनी बढ़ रही है, इस प्रॉपर्टी को यूज करके हम लोग देखते हैं कि क्या एक्सप्रेशन. That is what a real-time PCR is. I'm just really short of time, so we can. So coming to the sequencing, what is sequencing? So initially the chemical method was given by Maxim Gilbert, and then this another method was given by Sanger. It helps us in DNA sequencing. So what this here, the Sanger's method of DNA sequencing utilizes is a dideoxyribose. Is anyone there who can tell me what is this dideoxyribose? Yes, anyone please? Jivesh, yeah. Okay, have a look at it. One is, yeah, Kamaljeet Kaur. Dideoxyribose. What is this dideoxyribose? As you look at the structure, this is a ribose sugar where we have it's a deoxyribose. Here you can look at it. There is a 5' there is an OH, there is a 3', there is an OH. But in dideoxy, ribose, what you have is an H. And as you know, this phosphodiester bond is formed between this 5' and the 3' C that is there. Okay. Here, what we form is this phosphodiester bond. Have a look at it. In this case, you have only OH. So, as this diagram represent how this the structure of this double-stranded DNA. So there's a phosphodiester bond between the 5' carbon and the 3'. There's a phosphodiester bond. But if instead of deoxyribose, we have dideoxyribose, there's no OHO here, there's only H. So this reaction will stop. So if we use this thing for carrying out the PCR, we're carrying out during this PCR, the reaction will be terminated. So in this case, what we utilized, Sanger utilized dideoxyribose. The reaction, the setup was done, the template region was taken, the primers were taken, the DNA polymerase and the DNTBs were taken. They were set up in 4 tubes. Okay, 4 tubes. The reaction was set up, the similar setup, the same template, the same primer, same DNA polymerase, same DNTBs. Then in each of them, one of them, like in one DD-ATP, that is dideoxy ATP was added, and this dideoxy TTP was added, and DTC CTP was added, GGP was added. Okay, so yeah, this reaction was set up. So once the PCR was carried out, in this case, in this tube, what happened? जहां जहां A आया, वहां reaction stop हो जाएगी. बाकी सारी रिएक्शन भी होगी, पूरे फुल लेंथ पीसीआर प्रोडक्ट्स ही बनेंगे, और ये वाले प्रोडक्ट भी बनेगा जहां पे जैसे यहाँ से आ रहा है ए आ रहा है, यहाँ तक का प्रोडक्ट भी बना. इन केस ऑफ टी, यहाँ जहां जहां टी आ रहा है वहां रिएक्शन स्टॉप हो गई, और उस बाकी सारे रिएक्शन प्रोडक्ट्स भी बने. But we get a product in this DD-ATP tube. We get a product everywhere. There is like A is there. We get a product of that length where everywhere A is there. In DD-TTP, we get a product of those lengths where T was there. In DD-CTP tubes, we get the products of those lengths where DD-CTP was used. So wherever C, those lengths, the products were developed, produced in this kind of a tube. We are carrying out PCR. And in GTP, GTP, in this case, everywhere where the G is there, उस length के products इस tube में बन जाएंगे. So, and then once the reaction was carried out, these are the radio-labeled DD-ATPs, the dideoxynucleotides were there. So, आपने उन्हें parallelly जब आपने run करेंगे, so you'll get this kind of a pattern. First, you carried out the PCR using DD-ATP, GTP, and TTP and CTP in separate tubes. ये reaction setup आपने किया है. Then you have run it on a page, polyacrylamide gel. You carried out the process of electrophoresis, and then once you analyze it, you get this kind of a pattern. See, जहाँ G था वहाँ अपने उसका इनका प्रोडक्ट बन रहा है, A था वहाँ पे उस लेंथ का प्रोडक्ट बन रहा है और टर्मिनेट हो रहा है because of the presence of DATP, DGTP, DATP, DTTP and DCTP in this tube. And then you can read ये sequence क्या है, आप ऐसे पढ़ सकते हैं इसमें, जैसे this the sequence of this region is AAA G AAA GGG, like that. That is how we carried out this process of this sequencing. This is a very tedious process, and very small regions can be looked at or sequenced. So now what we are doing these days is we are using automated procedure of sequences. Here it utilizes 4 different fluorescent labels, one representing each nucleotide, and specific signals are generated at a particular wavelength upon excitation by a laser beam. This uses micro optics, and like large sequences can be analyzed at a very fast rate and at a very low cost. So instead of using a radio labeled sequence, what we are using is a fluorescent label sequence, and it's all automated. It's all automated. So I think this sequencing part is clear to you. Coming to the restriction fragment length polymorphism, I've put up too much things on this slide, but there are certain important definitions. This is known as SNP, not SNP, SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism. It refers to the fact that single nucleotide genetic variations in genomic sequence exist at a different loci throughout the chromosome. There are certain important, this is important information. All of you can note down or take a snapshot of this. So, like there is a normal variation. All the DNA sequences, like all of us, all the individuals, they vary in like at certain places. The DNA sequence for a particular gene, say A, is not same in all the individuals. There are certain variations in that sequence of that particular gene. So if the frequency of that variation is more than 1%, that particular region is known as a SNP, SNP. If that frequency is less than 1%, that is known as a mutation. Here, gene A, all individuals, say example हम लेते हैं और सारे individuals में same नहीं है, there is a variation in the sequence. उस gene में एक particular location पे change है एक nucleotide base का, वो SNP कहलाएगा if the frequency of that change in a particular population is more than 1%. अगर एक particular population में 1% से ज़्यादा लोगों में वो change है तो उसे SNP कहेंगे. If it is less than 1%, it is known as a mutation. And this, like as you know, that restriction enzymes, they recognize the sequences and they cut if there's a particular sequence is present, and they will not cut if that particular sequence is not present. So this, even a single base change is recognized with these restriction endonucleases. So that is the property that is utilized for this restriction fragment length polymorphism. So an inherited difference in the pattern of restriction enzyme digestion, DNA variation occurring in more than 1% of the population is known as restriction fragment length polymorphism. In RFLP analysis, the DNA is this one. Sample is, or your PCR product is broken into pieces or digested by restriction enzyme, and it will result in fragments of different length. You can analyze it using gel electrophoresis. I think the things will be more clear. Have a look at this example. You just take it as a PCR product. Forget about these two sites right now. Just have a look at it. If this polymorphic site, either it can be susceptible or like it can be digested by restriction enzyme. Here it cannot be digested by restriction enzyme because of the change in the sequence. So if it can be digested, it will be cleaved into two fragments. If it is not digested, because there is a change, it will not be cleaved into two fragments. And that's what you can analyze. Cleave hua ya nahi hua using restriction fragment and polymorphism or gel electrophoresis. Have a look at it. This example. This is like a gene A that is there. It is homozygous because like there are alleles, all the genes they occur in pair. One is maternal, one is paternal. So alleles are present. Say let's take an example. A है. A कटता है restriction enzyme से. छोटा A नहीं कटता. This A, capital A is a wild type or like a more frequent one, and chota A is a mutant or less frequent one. Okay. So in this case, either it will be digested if it is in both the alleles, it is AA. If it is like AA, chota wala AA hai, small a, then it will not be digested. And if it is a heterozygous, this is wrongly written as homozygous, it is heterozygous, that is A, capital A, small a. In one allele it will be digested, and in one it will not be digested. Then you analyze, you do the PCR, amplify this region of your interest where you need to analyze. You digest it with restriction endonuclease. Then you analyze it on using this gel electrophoresis. So जो band pattern आएगा उसके हिसाब से आप पता लगा सकते हैं what is the SNP that is present in a particular region. है ना? We have gone by PCR किया, हमने region को amplify किया, उसे restriction enzyme से digest किया, उसे gel electrophoresis से analyze किया. So in this case, जैसे हमें ये पैटर्न मिला कि ये कट रहा है दोनों मतलब ये getting a single band smaller length, then it means दोनों bands हमारे कट गए. It means it is capital AA. एक में कटा, एक में नहीं कटा. We are getting double band. It means like part of this PCR product was digested, part of it was not digested. So we are having, it is a heterozygous. If both of them were not digested, it is again homozygous mutant. So we are using this terminology as mutant and all, but it is actually a SNP. This examples, then you can analyze multiple samples simultaneously. Sample 1 and sample 2. We have done the PCR first. You have carried out the PCR, then give it both the samples with the restriction endonuclease sample 1 got cut into 2 fragments, sample 2 didn't get cut into 2 fragments. So sample 2 is your homozygous, sample 1 is heterozygous. This property is utilized for analyzing, for looking at like what is like the status of an individual, or like the individual is having sickle cell. He's a case, he's a carrier of sickle cell trait. In this case, what we are doing is we are doing PCR amplification. We can do, or like this southern blot we can be done. In this case, it represents a southern blot that has been done, and there's a MST2 restriction site in the beta globin gene. So if this MST2 restriction site is there present, it is a normal allele. As you can look at it, there is a T to A change in case of sickle cell trait. If there's if there's a change in this beta globin gene in a template strand from T to A, then it becomes a sickle cell trait, and then this site is no more susceptible, or like this MST2 enzyme will no longer be able to act at this site. So if it is a normal AA, there are 3 sites that are there that will be cut. This the fragment of 1.35 kb, it will be digested into 2 fragments, 1.15 kb and 2.2 kb. If the site is lost, what we'll have is this 1.35 kb, and that has been done. And then once you do this, you digest it to the restriction endonuclease, then you carry out the southern blot analysis. As you can have a look, the pattern that you are getting, using this pattern, you will be able to decipher whether it's a case SS or a normal or a carrier. In this case, the figure shows that both the parents P1 and P2 are there like the carriers. So that's why we are getting 2 bands. एक segment में आपका जो रहेगा 1.15 kb आ रहा है, इनमें 1.35 kb आ रहा है. 0.2 kb इस पिक्चर में नहीं लिया गया, it has been ignored. Or like if you're using southern blot, the probe is like binding to somewhere here. So ये इस fragment को determine करेगा और इसको determine करेगा, and sizing can be done. So in this case, the parents are both heterozygous, and these are the progenies. As you can see by analysis, अगर आपके 2 fragments आ रहे हैं तो एक इसको represent कर रहा है, एक इसको represent कर रहा है, तो it is they are heterozygous. अगर दोनों आपके alleles में change है, so alleles में दोनों में change है, तो this site will be lost. So 1.35 kb का fragment बनेगा because both the alleles, this restriction site is lost, MST2 restriction site. So in this case, you get a single band. If both the sites are preserved, एक parent से alleles दोनों normal वाले आ रहे हैं, तो this is AA. So you will get this kind of a pattern. That's what we do in like southern blotting. Another important application of like what we use is southern blotting as well as for the PCR is DNA fingerprinting. DNA fingerprinting हम करते हैं. इसमें in this case it is a southern blot that has been done. Just imagine a crime scene that is there. वहाँ पे आपने देखा there is a victim that is there, and then his nail scrapings. There is some DNA, that is some blood is there, or you have found some unrelated blood samples somewhere, or some other tissue, some genetic material somewhere. So आपने वहाँ forensic crime scene से वो सब collect किया. Then what you do is you extract the DNA, you take all the samples from the site, sample of the victim, sample of the like at the crime scene जो आपके suspected samples हैं, और जैसे nail scraping से मिल रहा है, plus आपके पास suspects हैं, उनसे आपने लिया है blood sample, और उसको आप go for the DNA fingerprinting. What you do is you just cleave it, extract the DNA, cleave it with dissection endonucleases, separate it using the gel electrophoresis, then denature the DNA, transfer it to a nitrocellulose membrane, probe it using radiolabel probes. Then you use this auto radiography technique. What you get is a pattern. And as Dr. Puri told you, he's talked to you about the junk DNA. If you remember, junk DNA, it is there. The one thing that he told you about is VNTR, variable number of tandem repeats. ये repeats होते हैं, और ये unrelated individual में ये different, काफी ज़्यादा different होते हैं, और related individuals में they are similar. VNTR, the tandem repeats that are present. So utilizing this property, what we get is a different pattern from different individuals. So once जो आपको मैंने samples लिए थे बताया था, we have taken the sample from the victim, the evidence from the suspect 1 and suspect 2. Then you carry out this process of DNA fingerprinting and have a look at this diagram, the autoradiograph that has been developed. Victim has a separate pattern, and this is the pattern from the evidence. Evidence जो आपको मिला है वहाँ पे जैसे इसकी rear scraping से है, it is different. Now you can have a look. It is not matching from the victim, so it is different. But now you have suspect 1 and suspect 2. उनसे आपने जब match किया इन्हें, so this evidence is matching with the pattern is matching with the suspect 1 rather than the suspect 2. So it is like more evident that the suspect 1 was present at the crime scene. So that is what a DNA fingerprinting is. This can be even used for paternity testing. And ये southern blotting जो करते हैं इसके सिवाय आजकल PCR based analysis भी आ गया है, where it's a better method, does not have that radio label probes. In this case, short tandem repeats. That's another thing. The junk DNA that is there, उस regions के against हम multiple primers use करते हैं, multiplex PCR carry out करते हैं, and then using that same property we can decipher whether we can come to that same analysis, or we can carry out this DNA fingerprinting using the PCR also. So coming to, I think the things are clear, but and like we are short of time, so I'll just quickly go through this part also. What is this gene therapy? If you have any queries, please contact me on like that email ID that I have given you. So coming to what is gene therapy? This is very important. There's a few slides that I'm going to show. You can take a snapshot or you can take a pic of these slides. So what is gene therapy first? It is a gene. It's a technique for correcting defective genes that are responsible for a disease development. Conditions that should satisfy before you carry out this procedure of gene therapy: the genetic loci. That's like there's the genetic defect that is like where the genetic defect in is present, the region, the genetic defect that is there. It must be well characterized, and it should be a single gene disorder. Both mutant as well as the normal gene must be cloned and sequenced. We need to know the exact sequence of what is the mutation and what is like normal gene. What is the sequence of that gene? Then, in the absence of the technique for elimination that existent mutant gene, the new gene that you are going to introduce should function in the presence of this mutant gene, because it's very difficult to remove the mutant gene. It is usually what you do is you can just put this normal gene alongside with this mutant gene, and this mutant gene should not affect the function of the normal gene. The normal gene should function even in the presence of the normal gene. And the most important thing that is there, that risk of this inherent new technology must outweigh the seriousness of the disease. The things that we carried out, the things that are like the procedure that we carry out for this gene therapy is very like has got its own harmful effects. So the consequences of those things, the side effects of the treatment should not be more than the benefit that you are going to achieve. So disease that like there are single gene disorders you can treat, like growth hormone deficiency, phenylketonuria, sickle cell disease, adenosine deficiency in SCID. That was the first one that was done, and I'm going to talk to you about that. So how this gene therapy works, there are a few steps that are there. Please note down.